Without these laws, you will fail. If you skip any of them, you can succeed, but you need to know them. Some people learn this the hard way over years and years, and they come to roughly the same conclusions. Others waste thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars learning the hard way these simple rules that you need as the foundation of your path to become rich. So, let's start with number one. And number one is simply start. Most people come up with a business idea and do nothing. They sit there and procrastinate and say, oh, well, I need an accountant. I need a business manager. I need to write a business plan. That's what I need to do. I need to write a business plan. Yeah, that's what I should do. No, you need to start. Okay? There was a story of two guys that were taught by the same mentor. One had no background in business. One had worked in the corporate world for many years. They both had the same training. Then one guy from the corporate world spent hours and hours writing detailed pages and pages of business plan. Everything color coded, got his logo, got the accountant, spoke to a bank manager. Months down the line, guess how much he'd made? Nothing. The other guy put an ad in the paper, got his first customers, became a millionaire. Start. Figure out the rest later. Rule number one, start. Rule number two, persistence. Persistence trumps everything. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I would take the hungry, relentless, persistent person over the talented, lazy person every day, because it's persistence that wins in business. You need to be relentless. And most importantly, you need to never give up. If you never give up, you cannot fail. I highly recommend you to watch the film The Founder. As Ray Kroc said,
one word: persistence.
Rule number three, asking questions. In order to know what people's problems are in business, you need to ask them what their problem is. People are more than happy to tell you about their problems. So you want to call people, and it's a loaded question because you're going to call them and you're going to ask them what they're struggling with after you've built some rapport. And then the answer they give you, you're going to already have the solution ready in a nice little package to give them. That's the point of the call. Ask people questions, then shut up, listen, and never interrupt them. Let them talk. Make a note of every single problem they're telling you. What can you solve? What do you have a friend that can solve? Who in turn will then pass you back business down the line. Stick to your main business, but make a note of every problem they tell you they're having and think about how you can solve it. So always be asking questions. Rule number 4. Sell your business, don't be your business. So what does that mean? You should spend 80% of your time selling your service, not doing the service. This is why creative people such as graphic designers, musicians, they often never become rich despite being very talented, because as soon as they get a job, they spend all their time doing the job themselves. You should be spending all your time selling and having other people do the work. And then you can continue to sell, and then build up your staff. And that is how you get rich. 80% of your time should be selling. 20% of your time should be spent putting out fires and generally managing the business, accounts, etc., etc. Don't be the business. Sell the business. Rule number 5. Money comes first, passion comes last. The worst advice anyone can give you when you're trying to figure out, what business should I do? I don't know what to do. And then someone will say, do what you're passionate about. Well, guess what? That is not the best advice, because it could be that no one cares less about what you're passionate about. The money is in the hot markets. Find a hot market, find out what they want, give it to them. That's the business. When you're a millionaire, you can then work on your passion project on the side, because a passion project is not the same as a business. So focus on what's going to make money as your business, not what you want to make money with, because they're rarely the same. Rule number 6, it's not a business until it's making money. So don't waste time with things you don't need. Don't spend money on things you don't need. You don't need an office. You don't need a brand new business phone. You don't need business cards, logo, website, every social media handle possible. You just need, when you start, to sell. And then once money's coming in and it looks like the business is going to be a success and it's working, that's when you get the other things. Out of necessity to make more money, not because you hope the project will be so big that it will need these things. Only buy things that make you more money with them. And without them, you can't make that money. That's it. That's the game. So don't waste money on crap you don't need. Rule number 7. Work for free to get your first clients. Now, this isn't a golden rule, but let me tell you why it's useful. Because if you get a client in your niche on the basis that you'll work for free in exchange for a video testimonial, and then say you get 10 of those, you can then go to their competitors and say, look, I'm already working with this person. They're your competitor, I know. I can also grow your social media. Would you like me to do this for you? So what you're doing is showing social proof that you can do the same for them, because they know that you just worked for a respectable company, a respectable client. So that gives you credibility. So work for free, get social proof, get testimonials, get the credibility within your industry that you've got into, and then you can leverage that to then get paid work, and then continue with paid work and scale up the clients and the price. Rule number 8, think big. Most people's problem is thinking too small. I'll give you an example. If someone came to me and said, Simon, I'm thinking of opening a hair salon. And I would usually ask them, how many? Now they would say maybe 1. And I would say, well, it's going to take you the same amount of effort to open 1 as it is to open the first of a chain. You should be thinking, how can this make me a millionaire? No, not one salon, unless it's maybe in Knightsbridge in London, is ever going to make you a millionaire. But a chain of salons nationwide, after you perfect your first one, that can make you a millionaire. You should always be thinking big. If it doesn't embarrass you to tell your friends your goal is not big enough. If they don't laugh at you for the size of your ambition isn't big enough. So whatever the number is you're thinking in your head you want to make, add a 0. Because the biggest problem people have is this. They're thinking too small because the people around them haven't achieved often the size of goal they want to achieve. Think big. You might as well think big. It takes the same amount of effort to start a big company as it does a small company. So start a big one from the beginning. Rule 9, future pacing. This is from Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP, which is a term for when you talk about the future with the client on the assumption of the immediate offer happening. For example, you're talking to an e-commerce company about running ads, and rather than talking about what you can do for them now, you talk to them about the problem they're going to have in 6 months. Are they going to be able to handle all the inventory they're going to need to sell based on the volume of clients you're going to bring in? That will make them think, okay, so already we're thinking about the size of our business in the future. It sets a completely different tone on what you're offering when you future pace. So talk about the future with your clients, how the future with you will look if they take you on board. And obviously that future will be bigger, better. Future pacing. Rule 10, speed kills in a good way. So you want to be fast. Everything should be quick. If you have an idea for a business, buy the domain within 2 hours. Create your email address, start finding leads and approaching them. As soon as you have an idea and you know how you can solve a problem for someone, get the ball rolling straight away. When dealing with people, you need to instill that mindset into them, because many people that you will outsource work to, in particular people like graphic designers, are always slow, always miss deadlines. So you've got to lay out in the beginning your expectations, and either they can agree or not, but you need to be fast with everything you do. I once used to do events in clubs, and the biggest problem we always had was the graphic designer would always be late with the flyer. And you can't promote the event until the flyer is released. It was always a problem. Graphic designers are the worst. I still have emotional trauma from how bad they were. So you got to establish your deadlines immediately with people, because you work fast and you need that to be your values, and other people must match those values or find someone else. Everything should be fast, fast, fast. Speed. Rule 11, enthusiasm and sharpness. Jordan Belfort, the real life person from the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, trains people to sell. And the 3 things he says are the most important are: be sharp as a tack, be enthusiastic as hell, and be an expert in your field. You must take control of the conversation in the first 4 seconds and show those 3 qualities. If you keep that, write it down, put it above your computer monitor, and before every sales call you make, remember that. People buy from people like them, so you want to come in at a slightly higher energy than them, but don't blow them out the water. If it's some timid speaking older person, just be a little bit more level of energy than them, but don't go level 10. But you want to make sure your energy is higher than theirs and that you are on the ball. Listen to everything they say. Don't be distracted. Don't ever be looking at your phone while you're talking to somebody who you're trying to sell to. You need to be 100% focused on everything they're saying. Don't interrupt them. Listen. Be very enthusiastic about what you can do for them and know their industry, which is where the sharp part comes in. 12, friends. This could be one of the biggest of all of the rules. There's a saying by Dan Penner: show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Stop wasting time with your loser friends that you went to school with or college with, or oh, you know, they're cool, we support the same football team, or you go out on the weekends with. You are wasting time talking to people who are not on the same path as you. It doesn't mean be rude to them. It just means keep them at a distance. Keep the people on the same path as you as the ones closer. There's a great saying by Eleanor Roosevelt which says, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people. You ever hung out with people and all they're doing is gossiping about other people? Those are the people to stay away from. When you're sat at the table and you're all just discussing ideas, preferably around getting rich, that is the table you want to be at. That is how your brain should always be thinking. And those are the kind of people that are on the same path as you. So be very conscious of who you're spending your time with and what is the conversation. If you sit at a table with a load of millionaires, the conversation is different. Trust me. Rule 13, free help. Before I mentioned about having a startup mentality, well, one thing effective in a startup is to utilize friends and family who can help you with your business. Let me give you a rough scenario. Say, for example, you start a business washing cars in your neighborhood. Maybe you're like a teenager and you just want to hustle, make some money. So what you can do, and this is where it goes back into the don't be the business, sell the business. You can find a niece or nephew or a cousin and say, hey, look, I'm going to make some money selling cars. Do you want to make some money? Get them on board. You then sell the service. Maybe make some little flyers. You can make them for free. Just print off some adverts, post them door to door, and then put your phone number on them. Offer to do like a £5 or £10 car wash, depending on where the area and how much money people have got. Then, once you get the orders in, train your nieces or nephews how to do a good job, which you will figure out, and then get them to do it. Cut them in, give them 75% of the money, 50% of the money. And then you can just keep going around and selling. Scale that out. Many entrepreneurs started this way. Lemonade stands is a famous one in the US. So utilize the people around you. Say, for example, you are promoting companies and saying, look, I'll grow your TikTok for you. The youth are on TikTok. You can go viral, la, 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 la. And they say yes. Kids know more about social media, especially TikTok, than most adults do. So you find your niece or nephew who's always on his phone, always on TikTok, and say, hey, look, you're on TikTok anyway. Why not make some money? Show them what you need them to do. Give them the login for the account. Get them to do the work, engaging, liking, commenting on the person's behalf, and you cut them in. So utilize friends and family, especially the younger ones. They usually have less to lose because they're not working, they're students, school, etc. And they'll be grateful for the money. Plus, you're giving them experience, which they can put on their CV. So utilize those. Rule number 14. The money is in the follow-up. If you cold email a company offering a service and they don't reply, it is not over. You email them again and again. And then you call them. And then maybe you send a poster to their company, flyer promoting what you do. You should be everywhere until they have no choice but to acknowledge your offer and reply to you. When you get a reply, the game also is not over. If they say, get lost, don't contact me again, okay. But if they say, oh, well, I'm not really sure about this service, we tried it before and it didn't work, that's the beginning of the game, not the end. So keep talking, offer to come and talk to them and show them what you can do. Try and get on a call. Just hustle. Be relentless. So the money is in the follow-up. Keep following up. Rule 15, conviction. People buy from confident people and people that look the part. People that look like they know what they're talking about. When you see a fairly jacked guy in a tailored suit and he just has that look, people are more likely to buy from him because someone who looks after themselves and someone who projects confidence is someone people will think is more likely to be able to actually do the job. If a fat, obese man is sat there trying to sell you a diet program, 99% of people aren't going to buy because they don't trust the seller. So you need to walk the walk and talk the talk. So make sure you look after your image. It doesn't mean you need to get jacked. And if you're a woman, it doesn't mean you need to look perfect. All I'm saying is look like someone who owns that position, is confident, and have complete conviction in everything you are saying. Nothing is ever bad. Nothing is ever difficult. Nothing is ever a problem. Always have overconfidence in yourself and your ability to deliver. Always project extreme confidence in yourself. If someone asks, can you do this? Yes, I can. You don't hesitate. Well, maybe. I'm not sure. No. Yes, I can do it. I am the guy. Let's roll. Let's get going. Let's not waste more time. Have conviction in your belief, in yourself, in your service. 100% conviction. People want to feel safe that if they give their baby, their business to you, you are going to look after it because you are the person that can get the job done. And your conviction will convince them of that or not. So have conviction in what you say. Rule 16. Only buy assets, don't buy liabilities. Buy the liabilities with the money that comes in from the assets. Let me explain. Person 1 buys supercar, let's say an Aston Martin for £100,000 cash. That is now depreciating a certain amount per year. The value is just going down, 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 down. Person B buys a rental property for £100,000. He rents it out and it brings in £400 a month. He then puts that money towards the lease of an Aston Martin. That £100,000 is appreciating in value. It's going up because on average, property doubles in price every 10 years, depending on your location. Buy cash flow producing assets. Rule 17, making over saving. Nobody ever got rich listening to the money saving expert on TV saying, skip your Starbucks every day, make your own coffee. Makes no difference. Treat yourself to the Starbucks. If $5 or whatever it costs for a coffee in Starbucks is your problem, you've got much bigger problems than saving the $5. If you haven't got enough money to do what you want, to be financially free, you need to increase your money in, not decrease significantly the money you're spending because you're not making enough. It doesn't make a difference. Someone who has a higher amount of disposable income, let's take, for example, a scenario. It's easier to explain this way. If somebody is making £1,000 a month and their outgoings are £500 a month, but somebody's making £2,000 a month and their outgoings are £1,800 a month, the first person's richer because they got £500 more disposable income each month, but the second person's only got £200. So you want to bring your outgoings down, but not on the petty stuff. Just you need to have a bigger income and low outgoings, which links more to the previous point about liabilities and assets. Think bigger. Increase your income. That should be your main focus, not being tight on the little treats you give yourself. Rule 18. Resourceful over resources. This goes back to the mindset of a startup. If you haven't got money, you need to find a way to be resourceful with the money you do have and use your initiative to solve problems. Use information that's readily available online to learn how to do things. You don't need to blow money on everything to learn how to do things or to get things done. Spend a bit more time finding out how to do it in a cheaper way, how to maximize the resources you have by being resourceful. There's always a way to get things done for free. Get friends and family to help, like I've already mentioned. Maximize the information publicly available online. Ask people for help. Rule 19, ownership. When you have a business, fight for your life to hold on to 100% ownership of that business. 100%. When you bring staff on board, do not give them equity. Give them bonuses. Generous bonuses based on performance. Do not give away your company. You're the one that took the risk taking on creating the company. You're the one that took the risk employing them. You deserve to get all the reward. If your company goes bust, they won't be putting their hands in their pockets to help you. They'll move on to somewhere else. And that's fine. That's the way the world goes. So fight for your life to hold on to control of your company. Now, there are examples where starting a company with someone from the beginning is worth doing. And I talk about that in the partnerships section later on. Rule 20, hire people, not companies. When you hire a company, for example, an agency, to solve a problem for you, A, they usually charge more. B, you are not their top priority. They've got a dozen other clients or more that they also are working for. You're just one of many. If you go onto a site like Upwork or Fiverr and you find someone with good ratings or feedback to do the task, you are dealing directly with the person that's going to do it. And because the money's in escrow, they don't get paid until the work is done. Unlike an agency where you usually pay upfront and then they have no rush to get things done. Remember, speed. Speed is the most important thing. Work with people directly. Don't work with companies if you can avoid it. Rule 21. Never compete on price. It's a race to the bottom. If you are selling the same product as someone else, say for example on Amazon, you're selling coffee capsules and there's 20 other people selling coffee capsules. Your mindset should not be, I know what I'll do. I'll make mine the cheapest. Because then somebody else with the same mindset will make theirs a penny cheaper. And then yours will be a penny cheaper. And you just gradually, you're both making no money. Only Amazon's making money. So what you need to do is work on brand. You need to make your brand stand out as different as somebody else's. If you're doing the same thing as everybody else, call it something different. Make it differentiate between everybody else's, because yours is different. Don't compete on price. Improve brand. Improve your offer. Rule 22. No technobabble. What does that mean? When you're talking to a client about your product or service, they do not want to hear all the amazing bells and whistles of the features you can do. When Apple first promoted the iPod, they didn't say, we have 100 megabytes of memory, we have on an SSD, we have a LED screen, we have this mod wheel, which is revolutionary. All their advert said was 1,000 songs in your pocket.
1,000 songs. And it goes right in my pocket.
It just sold the benefit. Skip the technobabble. Sell the benefit to people, because that's what makes them buy. What problem does it solve? Why do I need it? I don't need it for the technical specs. I can get that from somebody else. Don't talk in technobabble to people to try and impress them with your knowledge of the industry. Talk simply in benefits and problems you solve. Rule 23. The person who can pay the most for the customer wins. What this means is, if you have an offer that's £10 and a rival company selling the same product has an offer for £10 and an upsell for £100 for a premium service that a small percentage of people are taking out who buy the first offer, their average order value, AOV, is more than yours. So they can spend more on advertising to acquire a client, cost per client, CPC. Their cost per client can be higher than yours, which means they can pay more for ads than you and kill you in the game, because they can get to a point where they can spend more on an ad than your profit is. So then you can't do any ads, and then they can scale to the moon their ads. What are their upsells? What are their downsales? How much are they doing ads? What do their ads look like? How can you do better? How can you have a better product upsell? How can you have a better downsell? How can you make your offer increased by giving them more for the same value? These are the details that can make you win or lose against your competition in a competitive market, in a red ocean. There's blue ocean markets and red ocean markets. If you're in a red ocean market, which means a competitive market with many people, then think of it like a red ocean full of sharks and there's the blood. Or you're in a blue ocean, nobody's swimming there because you've created something brand new. That's where you want to be, in a blue ocean market. If you're in a red ocean market, you're doing the same as many other people. You need to make sure that you are standing out as being different, and that your average order value is as high as possible, so you can destroy the competition in terms of advertising. So focus on how much each customer is spending on average and how can you try and improve that. Rule 24, partnerships. There are some circumstances where a partnership is worthwhile. Let's take a few examples. When Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook, he knew he needed money for the servers to support the platform, and he didn't have it. So he went to Eduardo Savran, his friend, who he knew had money, and brought him in as a partner.
It was insanely stupid of me not to have my own lawyers look over all the... In all honesty, I thought they were my lawyers.
I'll make the website, you pay for the servers, and you're the money side of things. And together we got a business. That worked. When Adam Neumann created WeWork, he knew that he needed an architect, and he didn't have any money to pay for one. So he co-founded the company with an architect. There are circumstances where having a specific skill set puts you in a great position to partner with someone with an opposing skill set that combined create a business. What you never want to do is partner with someone with the exact same skill set as you. You don't need another version of you. You need the opposite. You need the missing piece of the puzzle that together you can create something great. Like, for example, if you've never cut hair and you want to open a hair salon, partner with an amazing stylist. If you want to open a tattoo studio and you don't know anything about doing tattoos, find an amazing tattoo artist, partner with them. Partnerships are useful when you go into industries that you don't know and you need someone to do work for free. If Mark Zuckerberg already had the money, he would have owned billions and billions worth of stock, more in Facebook than he does. And the same goes for Adam Neumann. So avoid it if you can. But it's nice to have a partner who knows the stuff that you don't, and it's crucial to the business. Rule 25. Sell first, build second. You don't want to spend 10 grand building an app that you have no idea if anybody wants apart from you. What you want to do is build the minimum viable product that you can put to market and then see if people like it. And if you manage to get people using it, ask them what features they want to be added. And then you might find that the app goes in a completely different direction than the one you actually anticipated, based on the people actually using it. This is why platforms like Kickstarter are great, because on Kickstarter, you can sell a product before you've even built it. So bear that one in mind. Don't spend a fortune building something that you have no idea if anybody wants. Sell it first. Get a waiting list. Get pre-orders. Then ship the product. Don't set up a business until it's a business. Some people will first of all create an LLC, find an accountant, file a trademark, pay for an office, all the things before they've even made a penny. before they even know if people want their service or product. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Once you're actually making money, you can fix that stuff later. First thing you do is sell. You just need laptop, mobile phone, email address. That's it. You probably already got the first two, and the email address you can create for free. So just get going. Start calling people, start emailing people, start making an offer. People buy from people. They don't care about your website. Either they trust you or they don't. Just get on with it. Once the money's coming in and this is a real business, then you can file the company legally, get an accountant, and backtrack the tax to when you should have been paying it from the beginning. You don't need to do these things if you haven't got a business. You've just got an idea. You just want to show off. Don't create an LLC or a limited company so you can tell your friends, hey, I'm the CEO. I'm a CEO now. Look, it says CEO. Make money, then you're a CEO. Rule 27. Don't spend money on anything that doesn't bring more money in. I've kind of touched on this earlier, but let me just re-emphasize. You should only be buying things for the business that you absolutely need to make more money for the business. And you wouldn't be able to do it without it. You don't need an office. You don't need a fancy business card. Do you need a new mobile phone? Only if your current one doesn't work. Do you need a new laptop? Only if your current one doesn't work. So don't waste money on crap you don't need. Simply live this rule of only spending money to bring more money in. Spending money on ads, yes. Spending money on influencers, yes. These are things that you're going to use to promote your business, and they are positive. You don't need a fancy £5,000 website. You don't need a company car. You just need things that make you more money, and that without it, you make less money. Keep it super simple. Rule 28. Forget contracts. Contracts are a bit of a waste of time. Unless you are doing deals of 100 grand or more, don't waste your time insisting on this contract, because if somebody doesn't want to pay you, they're not going to pay you. And you're not going to take them to court and waste time over a small amount of money. So forget the contracts. Just focus on trust, building relationships, and never do the work until you're paid first. That's why you don't need the contract. Now, escrow is also fine. If you're working with freelancers using escrow or Fiverr, you'll usually put the money in escrow, which is you're depositing to Upwork. They hold the money in escrow until you both agree the work is done, and then you pay them. You release the money out of escrow to the person that did the work after you've got the work, after it's tested and working. Make sure of that. If you haven't got it and you haven't tested it, the job isn't delivered. Don't release the escrow money. Rule 29, the 80-20 rule. So the Pareto principle is a theory that roughly 80% of consequences come from 20% of causes. Let me give you an example of how this works. And this theory came around because he kept noticing this again and again and again, that 80-20 principle, and that you can fine-tune it and fine-tune it and fine-tune it and narrow down your results. And you'll keep seeing roughly, sometimes 30, sometimes 10, but the idea, the concept is that most of your results are coming from a small percentage, around 20, of what you're doing. So how can you use this to your advantage? Say, for example, you are advertising a service you're offering, and you do 100 different forms of advertising. Say you do TikTok ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, adverts in the newspaper, handing out flyers door to door, magazine advertising, etc., etc. And then there would never be 100 different. But for the argument of this example, 100 different methods you tried, and then you were able to measure which ones brought in the customers. You'll probably find that all of your customers came from around 20% of the work, 20% of the methods you use. So let's say, for example, you found out that most of them actually came from TikTok and Instagram. Okay, now we're going to get rid of all the other options and we're going to do 100 different ads just on TikTok and Instagram. 50 on TikTok, 50 on Instagram. And you're going to change the targeting for each ad, different age groups, different countries, different nationalities, and so on. Then you're going to look at those results, and you're going to probably find another 80-20 split within those results. You're going to find that maybe people aged 20 to 30 in California were the most receptive people to your ad that bought. And that was roughly 20% of the ads. Great. Now you're going to fine tune that even more and look for the 80-20 within that section. So you've narrowed down from 100 different types of ads. You've narrowed down TikTok and Instagram ads, which demographic works. And now you've got your demographic. So now you're going to break that down into cities in California. And then you're going to split the age into more detail and try many different ads. And then again, you're going to look at all the results that come in. Okay, so actually it's not 20 to 30. It's people 26 to 28 that are responding the most in Los Angeles. And then you're going to do more and more. And this is how you do advertising. You find a way to track your results and you test, fine tune. You need a big data set to do this. You can't just do like $5 in ads and then work with this. When you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on ads, then you've got enough of a sample set that you can look at the results and then look for the patterns and then work with them to find where most of the results are coming from. So always be looking where are the results coming from, and then get rid of the ones that aren't working, focus on those, and then that fine tune. And then you will find your sweet spot of where the money is, and then you go all in. And you make as much as you can out of that demographic. Keep testing. Rule 30, you only win. What does that mean? It doesn't mean you literally never fail. Failing is a part of the path to success in entrepreneurship. What it means is when you're talking to people, when you're posting on social media, you win. You only win. People want to feel confident that you can deliver if they work with you. If you're posting on Twitter, I'm having a bad week, lost a couple clients, and someone that you're trying to prospect sees that, why would they want to work with you? You sound like a loser. People want to work with winners, not losers. You should have 100% confidence. You win. All you do is win. All you do for your clients is win. All they do by working with you is win. Confidence breeds success and trust. Now, that doesn't mean you can't show vulnerability. It doesn't mean you can't poke fun at yourself. That also builds trust and rapport. But never talk about losses. Never talk about struggles in your ability to do the thing you're trying to get people to pay you to do. Rule 31, FOMO and social proof. These are both huge. Take a look at example at the energy drinks company run by Logan Paul and KSI called Prime Energy Drinks. They are in the media all the time in the UK because of lack of supply, which they are doing on purpose, because when demand is high, cut supply. That makes people go crazy for what you've got because fear of missing out. And the advertising you get from that is huge social proof that this is something that people should be taking notice of and checking out. Fear of missing out can be utilized by having social proof on your website with like pop-ups. Like there's loads of plugins you can get, especially on WordPress sites and things like that. Shopify. It's like a plugin that pops up in the corner and says, Dave in Kansas just purchased. Bob in California just purchased. And they keep popping up. And it makes the person looking at the website think, oh, what am I'm going to miss out. I better buy. Limiting supply is another way. So having an offer on the website that is going to expire, that will make people think, wow, okay, I better get this now, else I'll lose my chance. If you have a website with something for sale and it's always for sale, always, it doesn't make it special. It doesn't make it something that somebody needs to act now or they could miss out. You want to create a sense of urgency in the person that might be buying, that if they don't buy now, the price is going to go up or you're going to run out of supply. So in e-commerce, running out of supply. In service-based industry, price will go up. You should be utilizing one of those to try and maximize people's urgency when they come to your site. They should think, okay, read quickly. Okay, I better act now, else I might lose this. People are buying constantly. I can see it. Crap. I better act. So fear of missing out on social proof. Make sure you utilize those on all of your websites. Rule 32, politics. Now, this is a big one in the US. I see lots of people writing, tax is going up. Trump is doing this. Now it's Biden, but it was Trump. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? You don't care. You don't talk about it. You don't write about it. Stay away from politics. It doesn't affect you. It affects people like Jeff Bezos. People who are doing billions. It doesn't affect you. Unless you are already a millionaire, it's just irrelevant. Don't even watch the news. Don't care about this crap. What the government does doesn't affect you. What you do affects you. The actions you take to try and become rich affect you. If you're relying on the government to help you, you're screwed. You'll never be rich. They don't want you to be rich. They just want you to comply. So the point is, ignore the noise. Don't write about politics. Don't write about religion because you're only going to divide people. No one cares what you think until you offend them. Yeah? If people agree with you, cool, that they already agree. They don't care. They expect to agree with people. If they disagree with you, they have anger. All you're going to do is narrow down the people that will buy from you. You won't increase the people that will buy from you. It just doesn't work. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. Just focus on you. Rule 33, break the rules. Now, this doesn't mean break the law. It means don't be a pussy. One of Arnold Schwarzenegger's 5 rules of success included break the rules. So he might be in a bodybuilding competition back in the day, and he'll do things that are kind of in the gray area to get an edge. You know, he'll mess with the competition. He'll push the limits on what you can get away with. Nothing he's doing is illegal because he's not breaking laws. He's breaking people's self-made rules. And you always want to push the limits. You never want to be afraid to push the envelope and break the rules to win. So don't ever be afraid to break the rules. Just don't break the law. There's a huge difference. And you know what I mean. Rule 34. When something is working, go all in. That's me there, pushing my chips in as if I was in a casino. All in. If you're putting $1 into ads and getting $1.20 back, that doesn't mean, I'm only making 20 cents per dollar on this. It's a waste of time. It means you go crazy. You put $1 million in. I don't have $1 million. You're going to, because you're going to put $1 in, get $1.20 back. Put $1.20 back in. Back. You get the idea, right? You keep recycling the money. Money, you spend money, you spend $100 on ads. Yeah? You get $120 in sales. You put the $120 back into ads. Now you're doing $120 in ads. You get more money back in sales. It goes in a loop. You just keep reusing the money forever until the ad stops working. And then you break down the 80-20 of it. Where's 20% of all the results coming from? Okay, it's coming from this. Go all in again once it's working. If an ad is making you profit, never turn it off, but keep optimizing and looking to increase. So when something's working, go all in. When something's not working, cut it off. Rule 35, pay yourself first. If you've got 100 people working for you, the first person you pay is you. Because if the company goes belly up, you need to be able to survive yourself so you can try and keep the company alive. If you've stopped paying yourself because all you're ever doing is paying staff, and then you realize, because sometimes there's a delay in you figuring out your financial situation, it can take, some people do it. Some people do accounting monthly. Some people do it quarterly. It depends on where you live. For example, in the UK, people do their VAT quarterly, so every 3 months. So that therefore they do their accounts every 3 months. Now, if you haven't paid yourself for 3 months because you were just so busy in the trenches and it wasn't really a top priority, and then you get to the end of the quarter and you haven't got any money left, you realize, oh crap, I haven't been making the money I thought I was in the last quarter. I've been paying all my staff, but I got no money left for me. You could have to fold the company quicker. And when you fold the company, you're screwed. So pay yourself first, pay everybody else second. If the company ever folds, at least you built a nest egg so that you can then create the next company, or even better, save the company you're in. Pay yourself first. Rule 36. Think big, but act small. You're not trying to impress anyone with your Gucci bags, your sports cars, and all this stuff as soon as you start making money. That's thinking big because you're making money and acting big. You want to think big, act small. Mark Zuckerberg, when you see him walking around the streets of San Francisco, he's wearing jeans, a t-shirt, and no watch. He's thinking big, but he's acting small because he's more interested in the game. He's more interested in the project, the work. What's he doing? Why? What's his purpose? Why is he doing it? He's not in it for the shiny objects. The shiny objects are great. And if you want them, go for them eventually. But less is more. Don't be the guy in the club getting that bottle service where the people come with the sparklers coming out of the drinks and just blowing 10 grand, 20 grand in the club. You don't need to do any of that crap. It might look good on Instagram, but it's meaningless. Build your money. Unless you are a millionaire, don't even be thinking about doing any of that crap because you're not big yet. If you're small, act small. If you're big, act small. Otherwise, you'll just blow a load of money trying to impress strangers. Rule 37. They are investing, not buying. The language you use when you talk to people can affect how they feel about taking action with you. Never say to someone, if you want to buy this from me, it's going to cost you this. No. You say, okay, it's an investment of this amount. Because it's true. When someone pays for your service, they are making an investment in themselves, an investment in their company. Always use the language that's positive for them and you. Never say, it's going to cost you this, you have to pay this. No. Okay, yeah, it's just an investment of this much. Investment. Always use the word investment in your copywriting on your website and when you're talking on the phone to clients or in email copy. Rule 38, inclination. Sometimes when you're not sure which path to go down, you're not sure if you should do e-commerce, you're not sure if you should do a service that might require cold calling and cold email. When you're deciding what to do, your inclination, your gut feeling will usually take you down the right path. There's a reason that some kids become chess prodigies.
Is there a school chess club?
Some kids become football prodigies. It's not because they randomly picked one. Their inclination took them to where they wanted to go because they would be good at it. Your inclination takes you to where you'll be strong. The things you know you don't want to do in life, it's probably because, unless you're just avoiding it, it's probably because you know you won't be good at those things because you're not interested in those things. Your inclination will take you where you're interested, and because you're interested, you will become good because you will practice a lot. So follow your inclination. It's your North Star, your guiding light inside you that tells you the path you should go down. Only you know this. Other people don't know this. Your parents, siblings, they don't know your inclination. They just have their own thoughts on you, but they don't matter. Follow your gut. Which path should you go down? Where do you think you will do well and why? Write it down if you have to. Pros and cons on each, but your gut will tell you where to go. Follow your inclination. Listen to your inclination. Great people, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, they followed their inclination. They didn't listen to outside noise, and it guided them well. Rule 39. The easiest people to sell to are your existing customers. Why? Because they already trust you and they've already put their hands in their pockets and made a purchase. And they're still with you. So they are the most likely people to ever buy again. It's much harder to find a new person to buy from you than to go to your existing people. So the way to utilize that, say for example, you're running short on cash coming towards the end of the financial year or month, and you need to make 10 grand quick, and you've got 400 people that previously bought this one particular item. Say for example, it was a t-shirt of a picture, like a print on demand picture of their cat on a t-shirt. What you would be better off doing, rather than trying to find 400 more people to buy the same thing, is to create a new product. Say for example, socks with the same picture of their cat. Email them a preview and say, hey, we're doing a special offer right now. It's usually £15. We will send you these socks for £10 if you order in the next 24 hours. Put a picture of the socks in the email with their dog on it or pet cat, and with a link to buy. 24-hour flash sale. You're much more likely to sell that way than you are finding new customers. So treat your customers very well. Be obsessed with the process from start to finish, from the first time they talk to you to the item delivery to the aftercare, because those are the people most likely to buy from you next. Your previous customers, that's where the money is. So treat your customers like royalty. Rule 40. Books. The answer to everything you need to know in life can be found in books. But don't use books for procrastination. So I like to try and multitask a bit. Multitasking isn't real, but what you can do is utilize opportunities that otherwise you would be not using your brain in that way. When I get a haircut now, I have my AirPods in and I'm listening to an audiobook. When I go to bed, the last thing I do is read 10 pages of a physical book. Partly because it's a break from looking at your phone, and it's easier to sleep if you haven't had that blue light. So get into a daily habit, because habits is how you win. Get into a daily habit of, and this is just my opinion, reading 10 pages a day minimum while doing nothing else, and listening to audiobooks when you go for walks, even 5-minute walk to the shop, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes back, that's 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes of a book, more than you would have done when you're just looking around doing nothing. When you go for walks, when you're exercising, if you're on an exercise bike or you're going for a run, audiobook. If your brain is constantly getting these ideas into its head from different sources, because everybody goes down YouTube rabbit holes, right? So you're watching stuff on YouTube, you're reading books about the subject, you've got audiobooks about the subject, different sources around the same thing, around making money, growing money, the niche you're in. Your knowledge will just exponentially grow. And because you're doing it at different times from different sources, it's going to sink in and your knowledge will grow faster. So books are the key. Audiobooks, physical books, it doesn't matter. Just get the information. Go for books. Now, I love biographies. Biographies from people that have become self-made. Richard Branson, Felix Dennis, Dragon's Den people, Shark Tank people. Their stories are great for inspiration. And then also read some practical books. On Patium.com, go to the forums, and I'm going to write a list of books that I recommend, and you can get the list from there and see what you think. Make your own choices. Look at the reviews. Go for the most popular ones in your niche. If you were to find the top 50 books on the subject that you want to make money in, and you read them all, you can't possibly fail in being an expert in that field. You will get every reference on a call. You will know your industry, your niche inside out. So always keep your brain updated. Keep updating the operating system with knowledge from books. Don't just rely on YouTube videos. They're only surface level. Get courses, talk to people, read books, or listen to books. Rule 41. No clocking in or out. I once had a friend ask me, if I start my own business, how much would it work out to per hour? Like, how many hours do I need to do a day? Instantly, I wanted to block them. Their mindset is just completely wrong. It's 24/7. It doesn't end. There is no end because it never completes. You get out of it what you put in. You should always be hustling, always be thinking about it, because it's a passion project. Your why is driving you to the reason you want this to succeed. So it takes you to the why. Whatever your why is, why you're doing this, your motivation, your desires, that's down to you. But if you are hungry for success and to win, you would never have a mindset of, oh, well, I only work during these times. Then I need to watch Netflix. Then I need to spend time, playing video games. No. Sack all that off. You're all in. If you are all in, this is 24/7. There's no such thing as burnout if it's a passion project, if it's something you're interested in and you love doing. It doesn't mean you have to work all the time. You can watch the odd thing here or there. But you should be not thinking about start times or finish times. You should just be thinking, how can I get the most done possible today? How can I get more done today than yesterday? How can I get closer to my goal today? So don't ever have a mindset when it comes to running a business and making money of that 9-to-5 mindset of clocking in and clocking out. This ain't that game. And if you try and run it that way, you will not succeed. That's employee mindset, not CEO mindset. Rule 42. Don't get complacent when things are working. This is particularly true if your business is internet related, because new trends, new platforms come around all the time. And the early adopters are the ones that flourish. I mean, TikTok, nobody knew TikTok 5 years ago. TikTok is now huge. The early adopters when it was Musical.ly and then kept with it when it transferred over to TikTok, they made a killing because they were there at the right time, because they were listening to trends and jumping on board. If you had simply just said, no, well, I like it over here on Facebook, I'm not going to bother with Instagram or TikTok because I know Facebook, I know what I'm doing, it's safe, you would have missed loads more money than you could ever have thought by staying. Because it's not about staying where you like it. It's about going where the market is. The market always wins. The market is always right. Follow the market, follow where the hot trends are, and then figure out how to maximize that market. And don't treat them all the same. You don't put out the same kind of content on Facebook as you do on TikTok, because the type of audience is different, the age demographic is different, the tone is different. Understand each network as an individual thing and put out content based on that. But it doesn't just apply to social media. If you've got a hair salon and the hair salon across the road is now taking contactless payments and you're still only doing cash, they're going to get clients that don't do cash, because people don't do cash anymore. Very few people compared to 10 years ago. People just want to do things quick, fast. Remember speed. The fastest way to pay is just on your Apple Watch. I haven't got my watch on me, but on your Apple Watch or your phone, just did it, contactless, ding, paid. People don't want to carry change and money around in their pockets. So focus on always being ahead of the curve, because that will give you a competitive edge. Don't get complacent with the way you like things to work. Go where the market's going and be an early adopter. That early adopter mindset is a good one to keep. Rule 43, the one thing. Many people write big to-do lists and in no particular order, with no priority. And they say, okay, well, today I need to go to the shop, and then I need to send that email to that client, and then I need to call that person. There's usually one big thing that you're putting off. And if you did that one thing today and nothing else mattered until you've done that one thing, that will be what gets you closer to your goal. There's always one thing. And this is kind of like the 80-20 rule. You can really narrow down to what is the one thing you should be doing today that's going to get you closer to where you need to go. Because a lot of people will put the easy, fun stuff at the top of their to-do list, because they're putting off the 20 cold calls they know they need to make, because they know if they make 20 cold calls a day, 5 days a week, 100 cold calls, based on their percentage of success, they're going to get 3 clients. And if they get 3 clients that week, and the next week, and the next week, and the next week, within 3 months, they hit their goal. Even though they know that, they will put it off because they don't want to make that first call out of the 20 for the day. So the thing that you're putting off is usually the one thing you need to be doing. Put the one big thing as the first thing to do each day. Everything else is a bonus. One thing. What is the one thing you need to do to get your goal? Also, your goal should just be one goal. You shouldn't be trying to run 5 businesses at the same time. What is the one business that's going to make you the most successful? What is the one business that's going to make you the most money? Focus on that one business. Sack off the other 4. And then narrow down the one thing each day you should do to grow that business. And that business should do one thing. It doesn't do 100 different things. You're not a plumbing company, along with being an e-commerce website, along with being a social media marketing agency. No. You have one business that does one thing, and every day you eat, breathe, and live that one item you are selling. One thing, one goal, one task each day that's going to get you the closest, the most results. Focus on the one thing. Rule 44, don't lose money. Most important thing for a business to do is to not lose money. So, don't invest in things unless you have a very sound knowledge of that market and you know it's going to go up. Now, it doesn't mean you have to make the money straight away. You can make an investment, for example, in Bitcoin. because you know it's going to go up, because we've just had a massive drop, but the recession is coming to an end. You can see the markets are about to turn. You can see the whales are starting to put money in. You can use knowledge based on what you see to make an investment, but do not sell until it's up. Most people make the mistake of losing money because they bottle it, or they have spent money they can't afford, and then they need to retract. They need to sell, even at a loss, to get most of the money back, so they're safe. Oh, okay, I got the money back. I can do what I need to do. You shouldn't have made the bet in the first place. Only invest with money you can afford to lose, and never sell until that money has grown and it's up. That's it. Keep it simple. Never lose money. Rule 45, minimum viable product. So, if you've got an idea for an app that you want to launch, you shouldn't focus your time and money and resources to make the most detailed, amazing, complex app ever before you launch it, because you don't know if anybody even wants this. You should launch the minimum viable version of that app. Take, for example, Twitter. Twitter, when it first launched, you couldn't share a photo, you couldn't share a video. All you could do was write 144 characters, I believe it was, and post. That was the minimum viable product. And they launched it at South by Southwest. They got traction because people could update live tweet during an event, and it blew up. Once they were already making millions, they added the extra things because people said, we want this functionality. So create the minimum viable product first, then listen to what the people using the product want. The same goes for a service. You shouldn't have a website where you offer to do 100 different things for people. Offer to do one thing. Sell that. The thing that you believe is the most beneficial to clients, sell that. If you notice a pattern where many of the clients say, yeah, I want that, but I also need this, respond to that feedback and then add that upsell. So keep it simple, keep it minimal in the beginning. Once it's working, grow it based on customer feedback. Now, that's not the same as being afraid to pivot. If something's not working, you can pivot and change the idea, but it's not adding to it, it's changing. Never be afraid to pivot and change. When you realize something isn't working, change the business to something else. That's fine, and that's recommended. Your gut feeling will tell you when it's time to do that. You don't want a limiting brand that pigeonholes you. You want to be able to pivot, add, adapt, and listen to the market. That's how businesses survive in the long run. That's how it will be easier to grow. So, create the minimum viable product. You want a lean startup. There's a great book called Lean Startup that I recommend, and it talks in detail about how this can be the difference between making millions and making nothing. Create the minimum amount you need first to launch, and then grow, listen to the feedback and grow with it. So I recommend that book, Minimum Viable Product. In fact, let me just go and get it. This book, The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. This is a great book that talks about the benefits of starting small, listening to what your customers actually want, and then growing with them. So I recommend this book, but the basic principle is start with the least amount you need to start. Rule 46, never decrease a target, increase activity. I got this one from Grant Cardone. He talks about this, that he sees people, they set a huge goal, and then they underestimate the work it takes to get there. So they'll decrease the goal. That's the wrong mindset. If your goal is to make 30 grand a month and you get to 5 and you say, I set myself an unrealistic goal. I'm going to lower it to 10. No. Look at the activity it took to get you to $5,000 a month. And then 6 times it, 10 times it. And then you will find you can get there. Now, you might think, oh, that means I'm going to have to employ people to replicate what I do. Well, yeah, that's how businesses scale. You can't scale your time unless you employ people. There's 24 hours in a day. There's only so much you can do with your hours. That is how you get your goal. You massively increase your activity, your sales. Massively increase your sales to get to your goal. Don't decrease the goal. Ever. Never decrease your goal. If you want to be a millionaire, your goal is to be a millionaire. Never decrease that target. Increase the activity to get there. That's all it takes. Once you've got something that works, if you can get to $5,000 a month, you've got it. You've done it. You found the way to get to $5,000 a month. Now you just got to scale it out. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much one person can do. Thousands of people work at big companies. Like 3,000 people work at Twitch or something like that. Like it started off with one idea, one person, and then it grows because you can only grow with people. The big companies have people always. They grow their teams. They grow teams of people. Don't be afraid to bring people on, and don't be afraid to fire quickly if they're not working. Listen to your gut. Rule 47, omnipresent. To be omnipresent is to be everywhere. If you are trying to dominate a niche, say for example, marketing to dentists. Now think, where do dentists hang out when they're not working? What websites do dentists read? What forums do they read? What Facebook groups are they in? Where do they get their hair cut? Maybe the salon next to the dentist. What do they do on the weekends? Where are they going? Where are they hanging out? What areas do they live in? All of those places, you need to be there. Your face needs to be there. Your offer needs to be there. You giving value needs to be there. LinkedIn groups, for example. You should be omnipresent everywhere. Everywhere your clients, your ideal clients are, you should be in abundance. They should be sick of the sight of you to the point where they have to acknowledge you. And then when you come to finally speak to them for the first time, they're like, you're that guy. Okay, I've seen you around. I've seen you everywhere. You've already been validated in a way before you've even spoke to them through that marketing. So learn who your customer is inside and out. What magazines do they read? Where do they hang out? Where do they go? What do they do online? Be in all those places. Be obsessed with learning this stuff and make sure that your name is everywhere they go. Rule 48, bad debt versus good debt. I may have touched on this earlier when I was talking about sports cars and that you should lease, not buy. There's a big difference between bad debt and good debt. Bad debt, credit cards. Good debt, a mortgage on a house. Why is it good and why is one bad? You want as much good debt as possible because the good debt is appreciating in value. You're buying a house that might double in price in 10 years and the interest on the loan might be 2%. So it's a bargain. You want as much of that as possible because you're going to make money. It's good debt. You want as much good debt as you can. Credit cards, 20% interest. Bad debt, waste of time. You want to clear your credit cards, get your credit rating up to get as much good debt as possible. You can utilize good debt to make yourself rich because you can take out properties, rent them out on a 20% down payment and repeat as much as you can using good debt to get rich. So don't be afraid of good debt. The aim isn't to pay off good debt. The aim is to get as much good debt as possible so that you can get rich on the value of what you're buying. Say you've got 5 credit cards. You want to find out the one that's got the lowest interest rate. And then you want to convert the balance from all the other cards to the one with the lowest interest rate. That's the first thing. And you only do that if you can't find a 0% interest credit card. Sometimes you'll see offers 0% for the first year interest. Take out a 0% interest credit card, convert all the other credit cards' debt to that card, close those other credit cards. Now you've got one credit card with 0% interest. Now it's not good debt or bad debt. It's just debt that you want to get rid of within 12 months. Try and pay it off within 12 months. Whatever's left, take out another 0% interest credit card, transfer the debt from card A to card B, close that card. Now you've got the same process again, and just bring it down, get rid of it. And then keep the credit cards open so you've got a good credit rating. Buy the odd thing on them now and then, pay it off in full each month, 0 interest, boosting up your credit rating, which you can then use that credit rating and leverage it to get more good debt, to buy property and make money and get rich. So get rid of bad debt or narrow it down, increase good debt. Rule 49, compounding interest. This is one of the most important things to think about when you start a project. Say, for example, you're starting a YouTube channel. Have you ever noticed you look at a YouTube channel and you follow it for a few years because you're a fan, and you notice it's on 20,000 subscribers. A year later, it's on 40,000 subscribers. Another year later, it's just getting towards 100,000. And then 6 months later, it's on 150,000. Once it gets to 100,000, it just jumps. And you're like, well, why? It took them 3-4 years to get to 100,000 and 6 months to get to 150. Why is that? Because of the compounding interest on the previous work. That body of work is there forever. Constantly getting viewers in, constantly getting new subscribers in. And the more content you've got, it just compounds the effectiveness of it. Plus, the social proof of the followers that are there makes people more likely to subscribe. You notice how nobody ever wants to be the first to arrive at a party? But if you walk past a party and it's packed, you want to go in because people want to be where the action is. Put away 10% of your money each month in, say, the FTSE 100 or investing towards property. And without you even realizing, you'll start slowly getting rich because of the compound effect. Compound effect of your actions, of repetitive good actions, the compound effect of growing your business. It just all starts to build on itself. So compounding interest, as Warren Buffett says, that's one of the most important things to getting rich. Even he doesn't fully understand it, but compounding interest is one of the most important principles to getting rich. Make sure you fully take advantage of the laws of compounding interest and keep doing good things repeatedly. Repetitive action will compound and the results will be phenomenal. It doesn't just work for money, it works for fitness. The compounding effect of not going out on the weekend having a drink. The compounding effect of doing an extra 10 push-ups each day compared to the last. Just growing it and growing it and growing it. The compounding effect of change. The compounding effect of change comes from repetitively doing the right things and increasing your action on those things. Lesson 50, accountability. No matter what happens in your business, it's your fault. If you employ someone and they cold email all of your clients and tell them to get lost, it's your fault. The first thing you say to those clients after you've sacked the guy that did it is, I apologize. I take full responsibility. I took on someone that did this. They are no longer with the company. I'm sorry. I hope we can move forward. But the first thing you do is you don't ever say it's not my fault. You never say it's not my fault. You employed them. Maybe you didn't do the background check. Maybe you didn't put the security measures in place so that someone who was new to the company couldn't do that. There's always a reason it's your fault, even if it's not your fault. It's a mindset. You take 100% accountability for any mistake that happens in your name. Ownership. Take full ownership. If you're walking down the street and you get struck by lightning, it's your fault. It's just your fault. You can't blame anybody. Take ownership of everything bad that happens. It's better for you and it's better for everybody else. Take ownership. Take accountability. Everything is your fault and that's fine. And you move on. No matter what happens, you move on, you progress. If something goes wrong, you apologize, you make amends.